Y'all, I am so sorry about my phone issues. The iPhone keeps getting hot. It was right in the sun, and it's a glass phone. I'm so sorry. I hate that. I be on a roll, and then my phone won't work. So I bought the new iPhone 13 about over a month ago. I needed it for filming because, how can I explain this? Pretty much, unless you live in a house where you have Wi-Fi, if you're going to be remote like I am because I live out of a car, then you're going to need I would say, to start a good channel where you're filming every day, you're making shorts, you're filming content, you're posting, you're probably going to need about 4 different cell phones just to start a channel and have ample data in order to post like I do. And I actually don't post as much as I should. YouTube has recommended that I post 5 shorts a day along with other content. So I don't post nowhere near what I should. They recommend to start off posting, 10 times a day. But it gets hot and it goes black. It goes black. Hey, Scott. Hello, Mike. Good afternoon. So I would recommend either A, Starlink, which is a wireless internet that's hooked up to the satellites through Elon Musk's company, Starlink, or what I'm having to do, which is the cheaper option, which is I got a Verizon phone, which I'm filming on now, and then I have Boost Mobile, 2 other lines because the data. So I get like 50 or 60 gigs on this, I get 50 or 60 gigs on this, and then I think I get 50 or 60 gigs on that one, and it's still not enough. It's still not enough. I still have major issues every day with my phones while trying to film. There's times where I'm watching a video and it's something so good, and then I want to show you guys, and I can't even clip it. Like, my data won't let me clip it because I'm out of data on one of my phones. So I'm like, oh, okay. Let's say it's a news article like Los Angeles is on fire right now. Let's say it's that, and I see it on this phone on YouTube. Well, then I go to make a short and it won't let me. So then I go to this one and get on my YouTube, and I'll try it on this one. It won't let me. So then I'll have to go to that one and try it on that one. I mean, it is torture every day just trying to make content because I am remote. So if you're going to be living out of a car, it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder. There's not always Wi-Fi. I was just at McDonald's and I couldn't even get this phone to hook up to their Wi-Fi. It's the new one, 5G. It would not get on their Wi-Fi. I also had my computer out before I went live with y'all, and my computer hooked up just fine, but my phone, the new phone with 5G, would not hook up. My other phone that's not 5G hooked up to the Wi-Fi. It makes no sense. There's no rhyme or reason. No rhyme or reason. It's a mess. It's a headache. I fight every day with the data. Every day. Yeah, I know, my phone kicked the bucket. Hey, Shane, Monda Die, hello. Yeah. I went and picked up a $1 pack of baby wipes earlier. So I have some baby wipes now because I was completely out. Yeah, I wonder what's going on. I haven't even seen the news today. I haven't had a chance. I had to do schoolwork last night, then I had to get up and do more schoolwork, and I ain't even had a chance to really look at the news other than the Jared Leto situation. I never have Wi-Fi. That's the problem. That's why I have to have multiple phones, because I never have Wi-Fi. A lot of companies don't have it anymore, and that trend will continue into 2025 and 2026. By the time it's 2030, there will no company will have public Wi-Fi services anymore. Mark my words. Remember, I said it here first, and I actually said that back in 2023, and just like I predicted, McDonald's and Starbucks now have closed door policies, and they will not allow people to sit in their parking lot and feed off of their Wi-Fi. So it's kind of crazy that I brought this attention front and center 2 years ago, and these companies are now playing into my prophecy. And I'm telling you, by 2030, there will be no public Wi-Fi spots. The library, a college campus, But businesses are over it. Businesses do not want homeless people and drug addicts loitering outside of their shops, sitting in their parking lots, feeding off of their Wi-Fi. And so a lot of companies don't even have it anymore. A lot of companies have restricted how far the Wi-Fi services go from inside of their building as well. Starbucks is the main one that does that. A lot of the Starbucks down south, you can't even pull into their parking lot and get Wi-Fi. You actually have to go in the store to even log into their Wi-Fi, and you can't do that unless you're spending money on coffee. So actually at the beginning of the year, I do believe back in January, Starbucks released a statement stating that they were going back to a closed door policy, which means that you cannot even access the premises. You can't come inside the store unless you're spending money. That means that you can't use their Wi-Fi, and you also cannot use their bathrooms unless you are spending money. They have a complete closed door policy. In recent weeks, we've seen McDonald's taking the same steps because of the babysitting that they have to do. People just drop their teenagers off at McDonald's, and it's very problematic because all of these teenagers start causing problems inside of the McDonald's. They're rowdy, they're rambunctious, they're disrespectful, they're trashing the place, they're not spending any money. This is not a daycare. This is a business. So I understand why McDonald's is requiring that you show an ID to even be inside of their business in places like New York. I get it. I get it. You know, I get it. I get it. Yeah, exactly. They're not running a charity. They're a business. And it's so wrong. Do you know what level of entitlement you have to drop your teenage 15-year-old brat that you don't even want to deal with off at a McDonald's for minimum wage workers to deal with? If you didn't want his ass at home, what makes you think this McDonald's workers wants to have to put up with his rambunctious teenage mouth and behavior while they're at work? The level of entitlement in some parents is just astounding. It really is. It's like they don't think at all. Let's see what's going on. I haven't had a chance to look. Gavin Newsom, and why can't we arrest these people? I don't understand. You know, if that was me or you, we'd be in handcuffs. So I just don't never understand how these people are walking out here free, trying to make it seem like they care about the citizens of California when, call me crazy, but it's my belief that the reason that the citizens of California are in this mess to start with is because of Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom. At what point do we start locking these people up, and how can we do that, and what laws need to be passed to ensure that this stuff stops? Like, it's a dead stop when it comes to using your position to literally starve and kill community members. I mean, it's crazy. I've watched Karen Bass speak, and I've watched Gavin Newsom speak, and they are both living in Delulu land. I mean, it's past the point of Delulu land. Like, it's to the point that they ought to be 5150'd because they're such in denial that it's astounding. I mean, the whole time I'm watching them speak, I'm just like, because it's so incredibly stupid and unbelievable. So it looks like Greg Abbott is welcoming the National Guard because Texas is being torn apart because of all of these protests. So now we have Chicago, we've got New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and we know this weekend on June 14th, a whole dozen more, yes, you heard me right, a whole dozen more of these events are supposed to be taking place across the United States. Let's see what's going on in Texas. So, Governor Greg Abbott, a staunch supporter of President Donald Trump's immigration agenda, is the first governor to call the National Guard to protest the spread to the National Guard as protests spread to multiple other cities. So this is not confined to California now. It hasn't been confined to California. New York was losing their stuff. Now Chicago, Illinois, and now Texas. So Greg said that he was going to deploy the National Guard troops across the state, making him the first governor to do so as protest again against the Trump administration spread across the United States. The protests that began in Los Angeles last Friday against federal immigration raids have spread to more than a dozen U.S. cities, including Dallas, Austin, Houston, San Antonio. While many of the protests have been peaceful, police have clashed with demonstrators at some of them. Why are we not... Now, people have the right to legally speak and protest. However, at this point, I don't understand why the government doesn't have the right to shut this down, because these peaceful protests have now shown to be violent. Legally speaking, why does that not prevent any more of these protests? Because I feel like it should. Because of their behaviors, I feel like that this should be a dead stop. No more protesting. Sorry, not sorry. We let you protest here, here, and here. It went violent. Taxpayer money was wasted, and now we can't allow you to do this. And that's what it should be. On Monday night, more than a dozen protesters were arrested in Austin during the demonstration at the Texas Capitol in Austin. Law enforcement officials had to use tear gas and pepper ball projectiles. Yeah, I just feel like they should, by law, at this point after it's turned violent, that it should be a dead stop. Three hours ago, as immigration raids continue, ICE protests spread from coast to coast. Now, they put in a curfew last night, which begins at 8 p.m. and expires at 6 a.m. Businesses have been looted to the point that if you saw my short, then they like robbed the Apple store. They're like looting everything. Activists also gathered in New York, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, and elsewhere. They counted over 25 rallies. Jesus Christ. Hold on one second. They've counted at least 25 rallies and demonstrations coast to coast since Monday. Los Angeles, San Francisco, Santa Ana, San Jose, San Diego, Oxnard, Aurora, Denver, Washington, Atlanta, Chicago, Louisville, Baltimore, Boston, Detroit, Las Vegas, New York, Charlotte, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, Columbus, Oklahoma City, Portland, Philadelphia, Memphis, Dallas, San Antonio, El Paso, and Seattle. Now, those were the ones just this week. And they have more planned for June 14th. I think they all need to be getting, like, all of them need to be arrested. If you're in the streets, just arrest them. They were looking for a problem. They went there looking for a problem, so just arrest them. Disorderly conduct, communicating threats. When you're throwing stuff at the police, that's assault on a government official. That's a felony charge. Arrest them all. And then ship their asses to El Salvador, to that beautiful prison. Please. I don't understand why the government is going to allow these protests to proceed when they've already went violent. Judged by the fact that they've already went violent, it should be a dead stop anything after this. Oh, it's their right. They don't have any rights. They're here illegally. They have no rights. The only right they have is to get on a damn ICE bus and get their ass to where they come from. That's the only right that they have, is to be deported. So, I wonder if they're planning one. No King's Day, North Carolina. So that's what these protests are called, No King's Day. They're going to do one in Nashville. Of course they are. It's like one of the most liberal places in the state. It's sad that people don't know this. As Asheville residents take to the streets to protest the immigration raids, further protests are being planned across the country for June 14th. Invisible, a non-profit activist group, published a news release on May 6th announcing the June 14th date. There are over 30 No Kings protested in North Carolina alone. Let's click on the website. So it's called mobilize.us/No Kings. And it'll show you where they're having these meetups. Hold on one second. Let me figure out how to work this. Where did it go? What the heck, Bobby? There it is. Mobilizeus.com. Jesus Christ. Look at this. This is just part of the East Coast. This is where they're planning the events. Oh, but it's nothing to be worried about. Don't be worried. Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina. "11 minutes ago, over a dozen No Kings protests planned in the Charlotte area alone this weekend." This just dropped. June 11th, 1:23. Damn it, Bobby. Pop-ups. Over a dozen No Kings protests are planned for the Charlotte area on Saturday. There's the different dates and times and locations. Charlotte, Waxhaw, Monroe, Concord, Albemarle, Salisbury, Mooresville, Statesville, Newton, Burke County, Lenoir, Shelby, Wadesboro, and Rock Hill. These people are crazy. They call me crazy. This is insane. Well, how do y'all think it's gonna go? What a bunch of losers. Losers! Oh, God. Imagine you ain't got nothing better to do than to get out in the street and protest against something that don't even pertain to you. And it's so counterproductive, you know? So counterproductive. not good in Arkansas. Debbie, I hope you're staying safe. Arkansas riots. I believe you. That didn't even come up. I love her. Sanders. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She said that she was going to call President Donald Trump if they wanted to act a fool. I know that's right, girl. I know that's right. She said, quote, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders recently said she would call President Trump for assistance if the protests turned into the riots in Arkansas. In many cases, the anti-ICE protesters have turned violent, with activists throwing rocks, concrete, and other objects at law enforcement officers and their vehicles while starting large fires in the wake. I just don't understand how these people who ain't even citizens have more rights than we do. If that was you or I setting police cars on fire and throwing shit at government officials, we'd be shot dead in the damn street, as we ought to be. As we ought to be. It's just crazy that this is even taking place. She said, this is why I love her. So Sarah said, in Arkansas, we would never allow this to take place, what's taking place in California. I know that's right, girl. I know that's right. Oh my God. All I see is that she said she ain't gonna allow that shit. Today. Yeah, she ain't going for that. 9 Arkansas counter-protests to Trump's Saturday parade plan. Jesus Christ, look at the map. Everywhere that there's a dot is where they're planning to protest. Do you see how half of the map is just spotted blue? This is where they're planning to do those protests. Places with planned rallies, meetings, or visibility events. Jesus Christ. These people have lost it. Millions of people are estimated to protest in more than 1,500 cities across all 50 states. The Army predicts it will spend $25 to $45 million on the plan, an estimate that does not include Secret Service or law enforcement. You know, it's so crazy, because if I had an editor, I'd be talking so much shit right now. This is exactly what I warned everybody about back in 2023 when y'all wanted to say I was a conspiracy theorist. Remember? I do. Everybody called me crazy. Well, look at the shit in action. Hell, it only took, 16, 19 members to damn complete 9/11. And we got millions of illegals here that are pissed that they can't stay. They have nothing to lose. Nothing. Matter of fact, it's in their benefit to get locked up in the U.S. At least they'll get a prison sentence here. Well, so exciting. I have to joke. I'm sorry. It's how I handle it. So exciting. Are we about to go into a civil war? Is it, whatever. What? It wouldn't be a civil war, but you know what I mean. Like, so exciting. Do we have enough military personnel to get this situation under control. So exciting. Are we gonna die? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's crazy. Two hours ago, troops in LA can detain individuals, officials say, as protests spread across the United States. I'm gonna tell you what, all that fear mongering that my mama and daddy did to me as a kid, I'm so grateful for that, because God, it made me more intuitive than most people out here. I can see shit coming down the pipeline before it even happens. I was warning about this 2 years ago. It's just crazy. You know, 9/11 and then Y2K, those were in my teen years, and my parents were like stockpiling batteries and water, and they were like loons. They were loons. They thought the end of the world was going to happen. And I remember the fear and chaos in the home, you know, when they were preparing for, I don't know what to call it, when they were preparing for war. You would have thought we were going to war back then. So Y2K actually happened in Christmas of 99, New Year's of 99. They thought that they had not made the computer systems properly. They did not know if the computer systems were going to roll over to the year 2000 or if it would implode. And if it imploded, then that meant that we were going to be without everything electronic, which would have completely shut down the world. No power, no running water. This is what they thought was going to happen in Y2K. It was mass panic. You couldn't even find batteries, okay? Everybody was out here stockpiling stuff in case of the event that our computer system malfunctioned and the world fell into complete chaos, right? And I remember the fear. I remember how people behaved. They were so much stronger back then. They were so much well prepared in comparison to people today. People can literally be in a Palisade fire with their head up their ass, sitting in their house as their neighbor's house burns. Oh, the National Guard will be here in a minute to put it out. It's fine. It's fine. The government said on CNN, it's nothing to be worried about, as the neighborhood around them burns to the ground. People literally have no survival instincts anymore. That mechanism to fight or flight, they don't even have that. They just foam. I'm so grateful for growing up during that time, because it taught me how to fucking fight and flee, okay? Some people ain't got that survival instinct in them, honey, and it shows, because they're sitting over there acting like this is a game when it is not. This is extremely dangerous. These people are essentially rising up, and there's nothing we can do about it. We don't have enough personnel. We don't have enough cops. We don't have enough ICE. We don't have enough military. Lord forbid this shit continues to spread. Lord forbid. Yeah, and then the year after Y2K, 9/11 happened. And most people with sense knew that that was a terrorist attack before it was even deemed a terrorist attack. My mother was one of them. As soon as the second building was hit, she said, this is a terrorist attack. They're going to take over the whole country. And she started preparing. I'm so grateful for that. Because I'm not a sheep now, sitting by watching all this shit going down, thinking that the government's going to save us, when the government is the one that put us in this fucking situation to start with. If you don't have a gun, I would recommend going applying for a permit and getting you one. Hell, get you a whole arsenal, honey. This shit's getting scary out here. And it's very clear that authorities do not have this under control. Even with over 700 Marines, 2,000 National Guards, this shit is even getting worse in LA. It's getting worse. They better get it under control before the citizens take matters into their own hands. Because in some of these states, they ain't gonna go for that shit. Arkansas, Florida, they ain't gonna go for that shit. So the military and the president better get this shit under control before Saturday, because if Saturday comes, it's just gonna fucking spread through every single fucking state. You saw that map. You saw that map. Yeah, 700 Marines and 4,000 National Guards troops have already been planted in Los Angeles. But Sherman says they do not have the power to detain individuals temporarily until law enforcement can arrest them, if needed to fulfill their mission of protecting federal personnel or property. You know, I have a problem with all of this. I mean, I know that he sent in the National Guard. I understand there's boots on the ground. But I still think that we need to be tougher than this. We need to be tougher than this. This is unacceptable. If somebody would have done got shot already, these people would have set the fuck down. The rubber bullets, the tear gas, that was fine for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come Monday morning, we should have been out there shooting motherfuckers in the kneecaps, hog-tying them, and throwing them in the back of a detainee van. This is a matter of national security. We've got to stop playing these games with little knuckleheads when they're on our soil and they're not even fucking citizens. They absolutely should all be shot, dead in the street. They are assaulting law enforcement officials and government officials. If that was you or I, we would be shot dead in the street. You want to play stupid games, you'll win stupid prizes, like kneecaps to the bullets to the kneecaps. I just think that they're taking this too lightly. Too lightly. And all of these pussies out here that behave this way are now seeing how lightly this has been taken, and now they're planning more riots. I think that we should have switched shit up on Monday. That's my opinion. Can they arrest them or not? The protests are to expand on Saturday when several activist groups, and it's not several, it's over 100 different organizations, activist groups, over 100. Now let's just say for a minute that 10 people run each organization, and it's 100 of them. That's 1,000 people right there in multiple other states leading this behavior. They have over 1,800 anti-Trump demonstrations coming on Saturday. They're doing this at the same time in preparation of the military parade marking the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary and coinciding with Trump's 79th birthday. And I heard some leftist loon say that the reason they were doing this on Saturday was because they wanted to take away the attention from honoring our troops, the Army. They wanted to take the attention away, and that's why they're planning this on Saturday. Typical toddler behavior, might I add. So, can they arrest people or not? One minute you say that they can, and then you say that they can't. So the headline reads, troops in LA can detain individuals, but then you scroll down and it says, but Sherman said they do not have the power to detain individuals until law enforcement can arrest them. So in addition to protecting government buildings and personnel, the Pentagon has said the troops will safeguard immigration and customs enforcement officers during raids. I don't agree with this. The moment that they started assaulting officers, setting police cars on fire, looting businesses, this is not a riot. This is an insurrection, and everybody in the street should be detained. They're committing criminal acts. Fuck their First Amendment right when they're fucking committing criminal acts. The principle is that they're committing criminal acts. So anything that comes after that is irrelevant. They ought to be shot dead in the street. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass imposed a curfew for a 1 square mile of the city's downtown starting Tuesday night after businesses were looted. People are being harmed. Pam Bondi said in her press conference, do you think that they just bust into the Apple store and not harm anybody? So it's very clear that the looting from her statements have led to people being injured and or harmed while these looting practices are taking place in these businesses. At this point, this is organized crime. Saturday is going to be crazy, you guys. It's going to be crazy. All of these people that are planning to protest, they see that nothing's really being done about it. The National Guard can't arrest people. The local police are in over their head. I don't think that the situation is going to die down. I think that it'll get worse. I think that it's going to spread, and I think all of these crazy people that are pushing for this and that are preparing to go out and riot, I think that it'll be worse than what we've seen thus far. I think they're spending the week preparing for destruction. We'll see what happens. I think that what is to come is going to be worse than Los Angeles. But we'll see. Let's have faith in the government, right? Let's have faith in the government. I mean, I will say at least Trump sent troops, but I just think that more should be done. I do. I think at this point, Monday, it should have been determined that this was terroristic behaviors. Like, I don't know. They should have been deemed as a terrorist group come Monday. And they should be shot dead in the streets if they don't know how to fucking act right. Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know. Like I said, they can do that shit in liberal cities such as Chicago, New York, San Francisco. But if they come to these Republican states trying to pull that shit, it will kick off a civil war. Don't go to Florida doing that shit. Don't go to Arkansas. Don't go to anywhere that has a lot of Republicans with a lot of guns, because it's going to change the dynamics of everything. Good old country folk ain't going to put up with that shit. Them city people that are scared, that got, you know, their sheep, they'll get by with it. But in places where there's more guns than people, they ain't gonna get by with that shit. And that's what I'm worried about. I mean, seriously, it worries me, because I don't want a civil war to pop off. I don't want that. Go ahead, buddy. Thank you. Never mind. Yeah, that would be detrimental to everybody. I really hope that they are working on passing some sort of law, or they're finding a loophole. I hope that they are figuring out how to arrest these people legally, to get them off the street, to make an example out of them, so that all of these crazy leftists know that if they come out this weekend pulling this shit, that they will be arrested. These people that are in LA, New York, and Chicago need to be made an example of, to nip this shit in the bud. Is that how you say that? Nip it in the bud? Nip it in the bud. I can assure you, if people was damn hog-tied right now with zip ties around their arms and ankles, lined up on those city corners with all the graffiti, I can assure you that this would be going a whole different direction. It's only because they're not facing any consequences for their actions that they're continuing to do this. 100%. They have nothing to lose. They're not even American citizens. Well, let's go ahead and empty a clip in the street and see how they feel about that then. They had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to show their asses, destroy the city, assault government officials. It should have came to end on Monday. But this is why I'm not the president. Because I would have been out there myself, boots on the ground. Hog-tying motherfuckers. Shit's ridiculous. I mean, once again, I do think Trump did the right thing sending in the troops, but it's clearly not helping. So something more is going to happen. I don't know, like start arresting people for destruction of property, looting, robbery. Pam Bondi said they're charging them with felonies if they're looting. So thanks to her for putting consequences on the table for bad actions, because at this point I haven't seen many consequences. Sure haven't. I know that they've arrested over 100 protesters, but at this point this has become some sort of criminal organization and everybody should be arrested. The moment that they got violent, this was no longer a protest. This is gang activity, okay? And they should all be arrested. And here we are on Wednesday and it's getting worse. And it'll probably snowball come Saturday. If I went to Mexico and I started setting police cars on fire, they'd shoot my ass dead in the middle of the fucking road. If I went to Mexico and started spitting and kicking and throwing rocks at authorities, what do you think would happen? Hell, if I come to America as an American citizen, treating law enforcement officials like that, I'm gonna get shot dead in the street. So why do these people that don't even have rights because they're here illegally, why do they have more rights than us? Because I think this administration has been too soft on them. I do. I think these things are being taken way too lightly. Way too lightly. I had to find a bathroom. I always need a bathroom. And who has the time to go out and protest? Tell me you ain't got no job without telling me you ain't got no job. God. Do you ask for paid time off for that? You put in a little slip, send your boss an email. Hey, I'm going to go burn the city down, set police cars on fire, and try to fight the police on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so I can't come in. How does this many millions of people get time off? Hell, they got Friday to damn Wednesday off at this point. the fighting's been nonstop. Riddle me this, Batman. I would love to know any employer that's received one of these emails, what it said. I would love to be a fly on the wall as the CEO or hiring manager of a company, the scheduling manager of a company, and receive one of those emails that says, I can't come to work, I've got to go protest. I gotta go to the No Kings protest. I would just love to be a fly on the wall. Because I know if it was me, I'm taking screenshots to post on Facebook. I'm telling the whole world, y'all ain't gonna believe what I had to deal with at work today. This 22-year-old blue-haired, bull nose ring wearing liberal child, go ahead, you rude ass, sent me an email telling me he couldn't show up for his shift at Starbucks because he had to go to a protest. Oh, I'm going to pee. Where's the key? And what do you think they tell their parents they're going to do? Because you know if they're calling out of work, they still live at home. What do you think they tell their parent? Mom and Dad, I'm borrowing the car to drive to California so I can riot in the streets. Like, oh God. Listen, I ain't never spanked a child before, but I can assure you, if I found out that one of my youngins was out here in these streets pulling for this bullshit, I might have to resort to corporal punishment. Oh God, I can see me showing up to the protest now to go find my youngin' to yoke his ass up by the collar and throw him back in the car that he took off in, you know? Like, what the hell? And I still can't get over them just flying that Mexican flag. Like, they just so proud to be from there. Well, if that's who you repping for, why don't you want to go home? Go home then, since you love Mexico so much. Crazy. You want to stay in this country, you ought to be flying the American flag. Cannot make this shit up. The irony. God, to be that dumb. I have been, don't worry, but not now. Yo, I need food. I have no food. I haven't eaten. And my mental health will start breaking down if we don't eat. I don't have any money, so I'm gonna see. I have this gift card that I bought to pay a phone bill with, and it was a whole headache. I'm gonna see if I can use this in Walmart. I don't know if I can. Let me call and see how much money I even have on it, because I know I've already bought groceries with it. It had $100 because I was going to pay my phone bill, but it wouldn't let me pay my phone bill. So I don't know how much is on it. For English, press 1. It's hot. Come on. they gotta have them long ass voice messages, girl? Oh shit, I can't even see what the balance is from the damn phone. You gotta log in. Well shit, I don't know if I can, if I'm being honest. Shit. What's the website? MX gift card balance. Shit, I gotta log in. Of course I do. God, it's hot. It's so fucking hot. Damn it, Bobby. Yeah, I know, girl. That's what I'm working on. Chill out. Hey. No. Yes. The system has expired. Jesus Christ. Why is everything gotta be so damn complex? Ugh. It's telling me the system's expired. Please try again in a few minutes. What the flip? $25.35 is what's on the card, so I'm gonna buy groceries. $25.35. I need another case of water. I need avocados. I'm gonna grab some tomatoes. I need tortilla shells. Hold on one second. I'm gonna make a list because I know I'm gonna forget it all. Me and my damn Dory memory. Water. Avocados from Mexico. Tomato. Tortillas. What else did I say? Probably need some more noodles because I'm out of noodles. I ate all those that I bought the other day. I only bought 4 or 5 packs, and that's what I've been living on. So, noodles. What else? That's good enough for now. Oh. Y'all, my PMDD has gotten me wanting to be so lazy. I slept in. First of all, for those that don't know, when I got clean 5 years ago, I was never a sleep all dayer. Even when I was on drugs, I was still up at a decent hour, 10 a.m., 9 a.m. I was never one of those drug addicts that slept the whole day. Matter of fact, I had that happen a couple of times during my drug dependency days, and I would feel like crap. Like, it would make me feel like I had wasted the day and I hadn't done anything productive. So I've always been on a pretty normal sleep schedule, but after getting clean, I started waking up naturally at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I now know that that is a symptom from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I actually have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which is PTSD like times 10. It's where you've had multiple traumatic events that psychologically impacted your psyche, not just one. So it's part of CPTSD, waking up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's a symptom of insomnia that stems from PTSD, right? But I always wake up and I get things done early. It's my favorite time to wake up before the rest of the world and start getting stuff done. But this morning I slept in, so I think almost 7 a.m., which is crazy because I never sleep in like that. It must be the heat too, because first thing in the mornings it's a little bit cooler, so I don't have to run the car and I can sleep better. Sometimes it doesn't even cool off at night until 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because it's been so hot. So if it's 90 degrees during the day, it still hasn't cooled off until 2 or 3 in the morning, and then it's only like 75, which is still hot in here. So I slept in this morning. That was nice. I never get to sleep in. Alright, let's go in here. I'm going to try to use these headphones and hope I don't get a YouTube violation. If you hear the music, will you let me know? And I hope you don't have to hear breathing. What is going on? I literally cannot even walk away for 2 seconds. The Apple Watch was purchased in 2019, homie. 2019. That would be 4 years before I become homeless. Jesus Christ. Okay, water. Y'all see what I deal with? Where did I put that card? In the phone case? I hope so. And you know, I might have bought this version because I had one in 2019. I might have bought this one in 2020. But still, that was 3 years before I become homeless. I know I've had 2. This is the second one. And she's holding up pretty well. I need her for my fitness videos and for working out. A lot of people wear them and they don't even need them for working out. The majority of people wear them and they don't even use them for working out. So at least I use mine for what it was intended for. Lord. Yo, it's so loud. I know y'all can hear that. It's extremely loud. Like, you would have to be deaf not to be able to hear that. Losers. Can you hear that? Thank you for the floating heart. That's why I cut it off, because I know you can hear it because it's so ridiculously loud. So crazy. I need some kind of cart because I need water. Listen, I be forgetting I'm in Walmart sometimes. You see the most weirdest characters in here, y'all. Shit be wild in Walmart. They be wilding in Walmart. So there's a Subway right here, right? And the two employees of the Subway are just sitting down over here at the back wall on their phones. Right there. But yet I can't find a job, and every time you go in there, the vegetables are disgusting, rotten, and don't even look like somebody put love and care into cutting them. Those are from Peru. I haven't seen any avocados from Mexico in the past few weeks. It's like they're not getting them anymore because of the tariffs or something. I like the oblong ones so that I can cut them and put like on a tomato sandwich or something. I think those are made for cooking, but they taste just like regular tomatoes on a little sandwich. Let's go see if they got my tortillas. Oh, I can't breathe. That's another thing. They used to have these Mission Street Taco tomato basil ones. I haven't seen the tomato basil ones in like 3 weeks at any grocery store. So I don't know if they stopped making them or if they've hid them somewhere. Let's look on the bread aisle. I don't like these. They taste like flour. I don't know about it. Hey, welcome, Hulk Smash. I was hoping it wouldn't come to that, but it looks like it might come to them actually floating away. No, I agree. It's getting crazy. Congratulations on your sobriety. Where's the bread? Oh, God. I don't think. Where's the bread? What the world, y'all? This is crazy. I can't even find nothing. Who organized this? Okay. Usually the bread's like right up front, right? Well, I hate to say it, folks. I don't think it is. There's the frozen section, and it's usually on the next aisle, and that's not bread, so what the world, Bobby? Hey, where's the bread? Back there? Thank you so much. It's in the back. Thank you. They got the bread all the way at the back. Who does that? Lord have mercy. Bread, cookies, and crackers. Okay, here it is. And I don't see any Carb Mission tortilla wraps. They must not sell them anymore, y'all. That sucks. Well, darn. Now, where the hell is the water? Yeah, I know this one's backwards too. Let's go grab those other tortillas and then I'm gonna be done. Sorry. Oh, excuse me. Tortillas. Tortillas. Noodles, noodles, noodles. Alright. Noodles. Oh, they got chili? They ain't even got my chili noodles. Ugh. I forgot. The only thing I have left is tortillas. Tortillas. I'm gonna try the street taco ones. Never had those. They do look better than the zero. 26 grams of carbs and 2 tortillas. That's perfect. Perfect for a diet. Just enough carbs to get you through. Let's see what bag salad they got, because I ain't got nothing in this cart to eat. Green beans. I don't see no salad on sale. Oh well, it was a nice thought. I guess I'm having noodles. Noodles and probably tuna, I guess, with it. Noodles and tuna. Let's hope this works. I've never tried to do this before. Oh. 2 avocados. I usually take them out of the bag, but I'm not worried about it today. And then the water. No, I don't want to donate. I'm a whole case myself. Oh, stay right there. Alright, so it let me use the gift card. That's good. Oh God, I forgot my stuff. Sorry. Losing my mind. That dude's been walking around for like 20 minutes. He was over at the grocery section, peeking out behind the shelf, looking at me. And here he is again. How weird. Nothing in his hands. Doesn't seem to be shopping, no cart. Pay attention to what people doing. If they don't have a purpose, they're probably up to something nefarious. Creep. It's always one of them, ain't it? They say that idle hands are the devil's playground. People without a purpose end up being in nefarious shit. I don't make the rules, it's just how it is. People that have no life go out and bother people that do have a life. It's just how it is. I can't see. Oh God, I feel like a vampire. Lord. Shit. Well, I'm glad I had that 20 bucks on that card because I have no money for food, gas, or anything else. I'm glad I had that. Because otherwise I'll be hungry again tonight. This shitty truck. Ugh. Headphones. I'm gonna put enough water in here for tonight. I'm gonna take this back because that's what you're supposed to do. Hot. It's like 100 degrees it feels like. Not really, but hello. I am well. I'm making the best of the worst situation. Per usual, what I do every day. I'm doing what I do every day. Making the best out of the worst. God, it's hot. It's torturous. It's 100 degrees. Hey, thank you, Hulk Smash. Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate it. Happy Wednesday. God, it's hot, y'all. Plug you up so you don't die. 80%. God dang, it's hot. Noodles, tortillas, tomato, avocados, water. That was everything on the list. That was everything. I did have protein for breakfast, so. Feel like working out. I go through moods. I'll get back into it. I didn't know that the family of Jeffrey Epstein had paid for a second autopsy, and they did though. I heard this on Rogan this morning. So, y'all remember how they said that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, right? Well, they conducted an autopsy through the city that said that he hung himself. Well, a second autopsy was done by a different, what is that called, a pathologist? A mortuary. A second autopsy was done by somebody else, and the family paid for that autopsy. The second autopsy showed that his neck had been broken, and it was not broken from hanging himself. It would have been broken in a specific manner that related in homicide. But unfortunately, we can't really trust that second opinion because it was paid for by the family. So they can pay somebody to say whatever they want to say in that second autopsy. And we see this play out in the George Floyd case because George Floyd's family did the same thing. So, I don't know, but the FBI director, Kash Patel, ain't that his name? He was supposed to be releasing the Epstein list, and now they haven't released the Epstein list. And it's weird because he acts like he has zero desire to look into the situation further. When we all know that he's the director of the FBI, if he wanted to dig into it further, there would be nothing stopping him. He was on Kash Patel, or whatever his name is. He was on Joe Rogan, I think this past week or something. And he sat down with Rogan and he was explaining that Epstein killed himself, blah, 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 blah. And Joe was grilling him. He was like, well, why didn't y'all do this? Why didn't y'all do that? Why are you not looking into this? And Kash Patel was visibly uncomfortable talking about the situation. So I think that there's stuff that they want to cover up. I mean, I do. I think that they're covering up the relationship that Epstein had with Trump. And I think that a lot of people operate on feelings instead of facts. And it's a fact that Trump is doing a great job as president. And it's a fact that he cares about the American people. But it also, two things can be true at the same time. And who's to say that he did not have an extensive relationship with Epstein's and these girls? We know that he hung out there. We know that he had ties with Epstein. We know that he went to the island. What do you think he was doing there? You think he just went there for tea and crumpets? You think he was just sitting down with the world's largest sex trafficker to have hot tea and eat scones? Because I don't. I think that Trump was probably up to some pretty nefarious shit back in the day, and now it's come full circle, you know, and his relationship with Epstein is now in the spotlight. So I think that people can change, but I also think that there's more to it than what the FBI director wants to admit. And it's very clear that he was uncomfortable while being questioned by Joe Rogan on his podcast. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I've been against the grain from the start. I still think that Epstein killed himself. I know that that's not the general census, but I have my reasons. Mainly his mental health history. He had tried to kill himself in the past. Mainly because he knew that his days were coming to an end and that they were going to interrogate him until he handed over names of people, in my opinion. But like I said, the second autopsy showed that his neck had been broken and that injury was homicide. It was not from hanging himself. The medical examiner said that it took great force to strangle and snap his head. But once again, that autopsy was presented by the family from someone the family had paid. And these medical examiners are human, and they are willing to take payouts in order to write autopsies a specific way. Hold on one second. So what all started this was Elon Musk and Donald Trump got in an argument last week over a tax bill. Elon Musk said that this tax bill was going to be detrimental for Americans. I trust Elon Musk over Trump when it comes to this issue. But we'll see what happens. But then Elon Musk took to Twitter, X, and he said that the reason that Kash Patel and the FBI had not released the Epstein files was because Donald J. Trump was in them. Well, then, the other day, 2 days ago, Elon Musk deleted that entire post after alleging that Trump was in the Epstein files. So in the Jeffrey Epstein's tapes, there's a lot of tapes. So Epstein was using these young girls to get high-end political leaders, businessmen, anyone and everyone to his island so that he could use this information as blackmail against them. This was larger than just sex trafficking. This was, what's the word? Espionage? Is that what it is? Does anybody know? Hold on. Espionage? Yes, the act of secretly gathering information, often from political, military, and economic gain. And they use this information to blackmail the people that were having sex with underage girls. One of the most popular cases of this level of espionage would be the Epstein case with Prince Andrew. There's pictures of Virginia Guthrie and Prince Andrew when she was underage. And you know what? Virginia committed suicide a few weeks ago. She was like one of like 6 of his victims that have now passed away. They just found dead. Virginia, that classic picture with Prince Andrew and Virginia Guthrie when she was underage, and Prince Andrew has his arm draped around her. I mean, it's one of the most famous pictures when it comes to sex trafficking victims and talking about these serious cases. It's one of the most famous pictures ever published. And you know whose idea that was? I found out this morning when I was watching a documentary. Virginia Guthrie in that picture was only 16 or 17. She actually asked Ghislaine Maxwell to take a picture of all of them, and Epstein grabbed Virginia Guthrie's camera and snapped the photo of Ghislaine Maxwell standing in the door frame, and then it's a picture of Prince Andrew with his arm around Virginia Guthrie. Virginia Guthrie was ahead of her time. If it was not for that picture, then Epstein would have never been prosecuted. How did Elon get his black eye? They say it came from him being high on drugs. Listen, let me tell you something. You don't get half a dozen baby mamas without doing some drugs. I'm not saying he's on the ketamine. I'm not saying he's off of it. All I'm saying is you don't get half a dozen baby mamas without some drugs. He himself has admitted that he's done ecstasy, mushrooms, marijuana. He himself has done drugs on live podcast with Joe Rogan. How much more evidence do you need that somebody might be on drugs? It's crazy. So, Virginia Guthrie, when she was a juvenile, and she was at Epstein Island, she was with Ghislaine, Prince Andrew, and Epstein. She asked Ghislaine during this meeting where she knew that she was about to have to sleep with this guy. She asked Ghislaine, can I get a picture of this? Because this is just so picture worthy. I can't believe I'm meeting a prince. And she played them like a freaking fiddle as a juvenile. That epic, that famous, not epic, but famous picture is what led to Epstein even being arrested and looked at. If that picture would have not existed, Epstein would still be out here targeting young girls. It was only because of Virginia Guthrie and her bravery to take a picture right before a sexual assault that it kicked off this entire investigation. That's part of the that's part of the information that I never knew about this young girl. She was ahead of her time. She was absolutely brave. And if that picture did not exist, Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell would still be out here on the streets doing the same behavior. Virginia was way ahead of the curve. Way ahead of the curve. Kudos to her. And she's dead now. She killed herself. She killed herself. What is going on? Yeah, she asked Ghislaine to take that picture, and then Epstein grabbed Virginia's. It was a one of those disposable cameras. Epstein grabbed it and snapped the picture of Ghislaine in the doorway with Prince Andrew and his arm around what was then a 16 or 17-year-old girl. So it's crazy. There's been several victims that there was 2 or 3 that they found dead in hotels down in Florida. I do believe one was Key West, Florida. They said that they were drug overdoses. They were tied to Epstein. They were victims of Epstein. And then they were just found dead, and their deaths were swept under the rug. We've gotten into that before. I looked up all of those girls. We went over it. It's absolutely crazy how all of these women ended up dead. It's almost like if you spoke out against Epstein, it was just a matter of time before they found you dead. And then Virginia Guthrie, she allegedly took her own life. And I don't know if I believe that. Like right now, that's what they're calling it, is that it was a suicide. And I just don't know if I believe that. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell is in maximum security prison, and her attorney is actually fighting right now to get her released. Do I think she'll get released? No. But there are people out here fighting for this woman to be freed when she was pretty much the head of this entire operation. She is the one that got close to the victims. She would try to make them feel comfortable. She would creep in like she was a friend, and she was a wolf in sheep's clothing, and she was obtaining these girls and using them with her husband. She's a danger to society. Now, do I believe that Ghislaine was also a victim? Yes. Two things can be true at once. I absolutely believe that Ghislaine was also a victim. If not just for the psychological aspect of being tied to Epstein, he clearly had power and control over her that she still does not recognize to this day. So yes, I think Ghislaine was absolutely in a toxic, abusive, probably sexually abusive relationship, and probably financially abusive as well, because she came from money, and Jeffrey and her married, and then it was his responsibility to financially take care of her. And I do believe that he probably used his power and money to get her to behave the way that he wanted her to. So I do believe that Ghislaine herself, who was unable to recognize she was a victim, I do think that she was a victim as well. But she deserves to be behind bars, and that's where she's at, and that's where she needs to stay. Anybody that thinks that she needs to be free, they also need to be behind bars. I don't know if Jeffrey killed himself. I know most of you guys think that he didn't, that he was murdered. Unfortunately, the autopsy that says that he was murdered was paid for by the family, and so that's not trustworthy. So I don't know. And then the autopsy from the medical examiner through the sheriff's department, that's, in my opinion, that's not trustworthy either. So both reports could have been doctored. Both reports could have been wrote to fit a narrative, and that's how these things work. I understand that some of y'all think, oh no, it's legal documents, they can't do that. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. Stick around. Next week I'll have a story on a medical examiner who lied in court documents. They always seem to pop up. So I don't know who to believe. I don't know who to believe. It's a really weird case. I do think that Donald Trump and Epstein were very close friends. That is my belief, and I will always believe that. Do I think that Donald Trump was going to Epstein Island to mess with young girls? I don't know if I believe that. I think Trump and Epstein probably had some sort of friendship, maybe a business situationship, and I do think that Trump was going there. It's clear from records that he did. I don't know how deep that relationship goes into sex trafficking, though. Not every person that went to that island is a pedophile, but a lot of them that did are. I don't know. I would need more evidence to say that he was, wrapped up in it like Epstein was. I don't know. We do know that he was a womanizer. We do know that he paid prostitutes for sex. We also know that he paid prostitutes off not to run their mouth. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of like me being a felon. Would it surprise you if I bitch slapped somebody tomorrow? No, it wouldn't, because I have before, and I have a criminal history of bitch slapping. It's kind of the same thing with Trump. He has a history of being vulgar, a womanizer, a player, a prostitute lover. It's not far-fetched to think that he might have been messing with young girls on that island. I just think that people need to keep an open mind and be rational about these things and not operate on feelings. I love the guy to death. Y'all know I call him my papa from another. So I see both sides, but also at the same time, there is a reason that the FBI director is not releasing the Epstein files. And I think it's because that relationship with Epstein was a little bit closer than what people realize. It would look bad on him. Jeffrey Epstein described himself as, quote, Donald Trump's closest friend and claimed intimate knowledge of his proclivity for sex, including, I don't know what that is. Listen, where is this from? So first of all, this is a court record. This is from the tapes. Listen to the Jeffrey Epstein tapes. So Epstein in these tapes, was this a disposition or something? What do they call that? Is that what they call it when they make you come in and they ask you a bunch of questions? Epstein said he slept with Melania Trump. These are court records that I'm reading from, first of all. Listen to this. This is crazy. So before Epstein died, he was deposed. It's where they call you in a court of law and they ask you all of these questions, and I don't know what it's called. If somebody knows, let me know. So Epstein, in these tapes, the Epstein tapes, he said himself that Donald Trump was his closest friend and said that he had intimate knowledge of his sex life. The convicted pedophile even boasted of his closeness to Trump and his now wife Melania by claiming, quote, the first time he slept with her was on my plane. Oh, okay. So the first time Trump slept with Melania was apparently on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. A disposition, thank you. Epstein spoke at length about Trump with the author Michael Wolff, in August of 2017, 2 years before being found dead in his jail cell. Wolff was researching his bombshell bestseller, Fire and Fury, at the time. The recordings cast more light on Trump's long relationship with Epstein and will add to debate over the character of the Republican candidate, especially his attitudes and conduct towards women. The Epstein tapes tell Epstein's version of the relationship between the two former friends and very different life paths. One towards infamy, prison, and suicide. The other towards power, the Oval Office, and paying hush money to a porn star. Hold on one second. I got a question. When was Epstein found dead? 29.
Jeffrey Epstein died on August 10th, 2019.
That was right before Trump was running for the 2020 presidential election. August of 2019. The 2020 election would have been the following year in November. So this was like a year to the date, a year and a few months before Trump would have been running. Hold on. When did Trump announce he was running for the 2020 election? May of 2019. May of 2019. Trump said that he was running for the 2020 election, and come September, Jeffrey Epstein was dead. Listen, I ain't no conspiracy theorist. I go off the fucking evidence. I see both sides. Remember, we are always going to be led by God and good. No, so it looks like he launched his 2020 re-election campaign on June 18th. Hold on one second. How ironic that the fucker dies the year before he runs for president in 2020. Interesting. I mean, it's just interesting. All right, back to Epstein's tapes. So Trump referred to these tapes being released as false smears and election interference. The tapes also offer unusual insight into the friendship of the two wealthy, powerful men who frequently went out of the town together, prowling for women in New York and Atlantic City. Epstein called Trump charming and always fun, capable of extraordinary salesmanship, and suggested he was personally in favor of Trump's policies on the transgender stuff. But he alleged Trump was a serial cheater in his marriages and loved to F the wives of his best friends. I believe it. I listen. Everybody has an MO. Everybody has an MO, okay? What they like sexually, the way that they treat the opposite sex or whoever, whatever sex they're into. Everybody has a love language, whatever we want to call it. I believe Epstein. I believe Epstein. I also believe that Trump is a changed man. But two things can be true at the same time. He also claimed that while Trump was his friend, has friends, he was at heart a friendless man incapable of kindness, and he alleged that Trump had undergone scalp reduction surgery for baldness and called himself the Trumpster. When asked by Mr. Wolf to Epstein, how do you know all of this? Epstein replied, Donald was my closest friend for 10 years. Wolf shared the tape with the Daily Beast ahead of discussing it on his Fire and Fury podcast on Monday. Last Thursday, he caused shockwaves by revealing a few seconds of the separate recording in which Epstein spoke in detail about the inner workings of Donald Trump's administration. Wolf also said Thursday that the pedophile showed off photos with Donald Trump with topless young women sitting on his lap. Wolf says that he has up to 100 hours of recordings of interviews with Epstein, including from using him as a source for the Fire and Fury and from years of meetings when the disgraced financier appeared to want Wolf to write a biography of him. Wolf said that he decided to release part of the archive after a new accuser, the former Miss Switzerland, alleged last week that Trump had groped her in 1992. The new recording offers extraordinary insights into Epstein, who in 2017 was shuttling freely on his two private jets between the Manhattan house and his Palm Beach, Florida residence and Little St. James, a private island in the Virgin Islands. Epstein had been convicted in 2008 in Florida for procuring a child for prostitution and soliciting a prostitute in a plea deal that allowed him to escape prosecution for victimizing multiple underage girls in return for an 18-month sentence. He spent the years after his release associating with billionaires, including Leon Black and the co-founder of Apollo Global Management, who had paid him more than $150 million for financial advice, and Microsoft founder Bill Gates, and dining behind closed doors with members of the financial and political elite. In July of 2019, he was arrested by the FBI and charged with child sex trafficking. 6 weeks later, Epstein's body was found hanging in his prison cell. Authorities said he died by suicide. Knowing everything I know now, I think they killed him. Knowing how many people he was tied to and about the presidential election a year away, I think they killed him. See, I originally thought he killed himself based on his mental health records and hospital records, but now I'm like, they killed him. I'm not sad about it. He deserved to die. But, I'm starting to see what y'all see now. I'm starting to see what y'all see. And who would have killed him? Our finest actually is on the number. Trump is at the top of the list of suspects. Sorry, not sorry. Who would want to kill him? Who would want to keep his mouth shut? Who would not want those flight records to come out? I know there was a lot of important people on the list, allegedly, because we don't have the full list. But when you really think about who would have the most motive, yours finest. I'm not saying Trump killed this man. I'm just saying he would have more reason to have Epstein murdered than anybody else on this earth. He was about to be running for the 2020 presidential campaign. And 6 months before he releases that he's running, Epstein's found dangling in a cell. It's weird. There are no coincidences. And Jeffrey himself stated that him and Donald Trump were the best of friends for over a decade. I believe him. The Trump campaign has already attacked Wolf for releasing the audio of Epstein, calling the author, quote, a disgraced writer who routinely fabricates lies in order to sell fiction books because he clearly has no morals or ethics. A spokesperson renewed the attack Saturday, saying he waited until the days before the election to make outlandish false smears in an effort to engage in blatant election interference on behalf of Kamala Harris. Y'all couldn't come up with nothing better. Let's see here. Trump's longtime friendship with Epstein, which spanned in the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, has been very well documented. You don't damn say. In the 1990s, the two publicly partied at Mar-a-Lago and went to various Victoria's Secret angel shows together. In the 1990s, the two publicly partied at, in 2002, Trump told New York Magazine of Epstein, quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Jesus fucking Christ. What are the chances? Sometimes I just can't believe that this is real life. I'm shocked. I'm baffled. I'm grabbing my pearls. This buffoonery. Trump told New York Magazine, quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. He's a terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. And even if it's said like that, he just likes beautiful women as much as I do. And so many of them are on the younger side. Trump. Papa Smurf. If this was 2002, he would have been going through a midlife crisis because he's about to be 80. And 2002 was almost 30 years ago, 25 years ago. He would have been in his 50s. We see this behavior with men in their 50s. This is actually very common. They like to excuse it away. It's a midlife crisis. I just can't believe it. I mean, I do. I believe it. You know, this is through the Docs House Gov. This is through the government. This is government public information. These are court records. Oh, God. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. I'm so disappointed. But, you know, everybody has a past. It's just crazy to think that the President of the United States was best friends, by Trump's word, for over 15 years. By Jeffrey's word, over 10 years. It's crazy to think that the largest sex trafficker in the country was once best friends with our now president. Epstein's infamous leaked address book had Trump's own phone number as well as Melania's phone number in it. While Trump's name appeared 7 times in the passenger logs of Epstein's planes, oh God, the books and logs also include princes, politicians, Bill Clinton, former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, former Israel PM Ahad Barak, Barack, Prince Andrew, and other celebrities and billionaires, including Mick Jagger and Les Wexner. I'm glad they brought up Les Wexner's name, because what the fuck did Epstein have on Wexner? That man, so for those that don't know, Leslie Wexner actually owned Victoria's Secrets. What was some of the other ones he owned? He owned everything. Forever 21? What did Les Wexner own? The Limited. So he was the CEO of L Brands, which included Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works, Pink, and all of these other companies. He signed all of his companies over to Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein was running these companies that were actually owned by Les Wexner. So the rumor on the street is that Epstein actually had dirt on Les Wexner, and that's why Wexner signed over all of his property and assets to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know if this is true, but you really have to ask yourself why a multi-billionaire would sign over all of their assets, all of their money, all of their shares, all of their business operations to some finance guy. You really have to question, why would this person do this? It's crazy. Oh God, an idiot just pulled up. Did you hear it? They're everywhere. Here is an actual photo of all four of them together. Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, President Trump, and Melania. Trump himself stated that him and Jeff were great friends for 15 years. Now he says that he doesn't know the guy. In 2022, Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former girlfriend, who procured girls for him underage girls, would be sentenced to 20 years in federal prison for the sex trafficking of minors. Upon hearing of her arrest in 2020, President Donald Trump said that he, quote, wished her well. Her friend or boyfriend was either killed or committed suicide. Yeah, I wish her well. Good luck. In 2004, Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump had a falling out. Epstein and Trump fell out when they both tried to buy a Palm Beach estate. It was called the Mason D. Listen, they were going to buy this out of a bankruptcy. The next year, the FBI began it, and oh wow. Well, there's a behavioral pattern here. So in 2004, Epstein and Trump both wanted to acquire this piece of property that had fallen into bankruptcy, right? The next year, the FBI began investigating Epstein for sex crimes. So, in my opinion, if this information is true, this shows a behavioral pattern with these two men's relationship. They both wanted to obtain this property, and in my opinion, it shows that if Trump wanted that property bad enough, he could have done something to kick off the initial investigation into Jeffrey to start with. But also, Jeffrey died 6 months before Trump ran for the 2020 election. So if he did do something to kick off the initial investigation into 2004, that shows his intent on getting rid of Epstein and obtaining what he was motivated by. The same thing would apply in 2019 when Jeffrey was found dead. If Trump would have knew by then that he was running for office, he might have not released that information publicly, but he still would have been in preparation in 2019 for his 2020 election, because these things are planned years out. What if he's the one that initially kicked off the investigation in 2004? And then what if he's the one that led to Epstein being killed, is what I'm saying. And that's conspiracy. But if it's true that they were both trying to obtain that property in 2004, and then 12 months later, Jeffrey's under investigation because Trump, started this investigation and maybe told something on Jeffrey, then it's not too far-fetched to think that he might have had him killed. In my opinion. This is crazy. Trump constantly contradicts himself. Listen to this. In 2019, on the day after Jeffrey Epstein's arrest, Trump said in the Oval Office, and he was in office this time, quote, "I was not a fan of his. I can tell you that." And he also stated that they had not been friends for over 15 years. Or they had not been friends for 15 years. But he previously stated that him and Epstein had been friends for 15 years. And Epstein himself had said that they had been friends for over 10 years. It's so weird. Thanks. Most people call me crazy because they can't even conceptualize what I'm trying to say. Thank you. Holy shit. I thought that it was only one woman that accused Trump of sexual misconduct. Do you know there's been almost 30? I thought it was that one woman that said that she was R-worded in some dressing room back in like the 1970s or 80s or early 90s. No. There's been over 28 women who have made accusations against the former president of sexual misconduct. Many of the attacks are alleged to have occurred when he and Jeffrey Epstein were friends. I don't even know what to think. I really don't. I told y'all they're both evil on the right and left, right? Like, I already knew that. I wanted to have faith in him, but this is not looking good for you, Mr. Trump. Epstein can be heard saying on these tapes about Donald Trump, he's a horrible human being. He does nasty things to his best friends' wives, anyone who he tries to gain their trust and tries to use it to do bad things against them. In one occasion, Epstein alleged that Trump took a woman to what he called the Egyptian room in the Atlantic City casino. Epstein alleged, quote, "He came out afterwards and said, it was great. The only thing I really like to do is F the wives of my best friend. That is just the best." I believe this. I'll tell you why. Because I've been to Key Largo. I've been to the Florida Keys. I've been to Key West. I know the culture behind swinging in Republican states. See, a lot of y'all want to live with blinders on. Y'all don't even realize the evil that is out here in the House of Representatives. Okay, let me tell you. It's crazy. It's crazy. The Republicans keep that shit under the radar. That's the difference between the right and the left. The left are in the streets with the balls hanging out of a skirt. The Republicans look conservative on the weekend when they go to church on Sundays, but on Saturday and Friday nights, they're tearing it down in fucking Key Largo, fucking 20 people at a time. I believe every word of it. I believe every word of it. People need to understand, men and women with this amount of money, they become bored. They become bored. They are miserable. I'm not even joking. So they look for shit to do, and sex is one of the many things that they fall into that is nefarious. I believe every word of this. Unfortunately, I didn't want to. When I cracked this open, I was like, there's no way. But it fits the MO of his previous behavior, is the point. Men like that, men like Trump that have had all of these sexual escapades over the year, it takes them a lot more to get where they're trying to go during these sexual escapades. Because they've experienced it all, they need more. I don't know if that makes any sense, but read through the lines. You know exactly what I mean. So him wanting to have sex with his best friend's friends is exactly the type of MO that would fit somebody with too much power and money that has fucked everybody from here to Timbuktu, and now they're bored and they want to go fuck their best friend's wives. It fits the MO. Bored billionaire. He alleged that he and Trump would pick up women by combining to split them from their, they would combine to split them from their male companions. We always used to go to Atlantic City and try to find girls in the casino. And if there was a guy, I would say, I'm here to invite the guy out to dinner. And he'd say to the woman, let me show you the casino. And as he walked out, he put his arm around the girl's shoulder, and the bodyguard would walk up to Donald and whoosh, take the girl away. Epstein also alleged that Trump had an elaborate scheme to produce sex with his friends' wives. He would call the men into Trump Tower's office and ask them about their sex lives and offer them sex with beauty pageant contestants. He would do this while the wives were there, unknown to their husbands, listening on speakers so that he could then seduce the wives on the basis that their husbands had betrayed them. This is crazy. The Epstein tape includes an allegation, which is impossible to verify, that Trump had an affair with a politician while at the White House. Epstein offered no proof or sourcing for the claim. He also alleged that Trump cheated on both his first wife, Ivana, and second wife, Mara Maples, with black women. At one section, Epstein used a Yiddish racial slur to refute, he's talking about what Trump said. And Trump said, I'm going to F all of these beautiful black women. Well, there goes your claim that he's a racist. He might be a womanizer, but he wanted to F all them black women. The tape mixes sexual allegations with other aspects of Trump's earlier life. And early in the recording, Epstein is heard saying, quote, you probably know he had a scalp reduction. He's getting the same male pattern baldness that we all have. He had his scalp reduced. It's hysterical. So Epstein is giving Trump shit about him having a hair transplant. This is crazy. I did not know none of this. I'm going to be honest. I did not know none of this. 2019, when he died, I was in full-blown drug addiction. So I didn't even know who he was until I got clean the following year. And it's always been my belief that he killed himself. I know that's not the general census on the street, but I have a knack for going against the grain and not agreeing with the general public. On the tape, Epstein speaking in a New York accent, he also mentioned the rich and powerful. In a disposition released after his death, Epstein admitted under oath that he had dropped the names of people he had never met. The names he mentioned on the tape were former President Clinton, and we know that's a lie because he's got a picture of Bill Clinton in a blue dress hung in his house. Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared Kushner, then Defense Secretary James Mattis, and the billionaire Carl Icahn and Tom Barack, both of whom are friends of Trump. Clinton was a long-standing friend of Epstein, but has denied any association after the pedophile's disgrace in the mid-2000s. Mattis has no known association with him. Ivanka was photographed with him as a child, but Kushner has never been known to be linked to him. This is crazy. Oh God, there's more pictures of them together. That was back in 1997 when that picture was taken. And these newly released tapes were from 2017. It's over 100 hours of Epstein talking about all of his ties in society. It's crazy to me that Trump initially said, before Epstein's arrest, he said, yeah, me and Epstein have been close friends for 15 years. And then after Epstein's arrest, he sits in the Oval Office and says, I was never really fond of that guy. I barely knew him. It's weird. It's absolutely weird. And I think that a lot of that has to do with elections, because he was in office and he was running again for the 2020 election. And so this information about Epstein being a trafficker, it impacted his campaign. Even more reason to have him killed. I'm being a conspiracy theorist right now. Hang with me. You know, like, it's weird. There are no coincidences. It's also weird that this investigation was kicked off, allegedly, because these two men started to argue. The reason that they started to investigate Epstein was because he was trying to acquire a piece of property somewhere in Key Largo, and Trump wanted it. And then fast forward a year, as they're arguing over this piece of property. Oh my God, this is crazy. Y'all see all of these problems I have? I give up. I can't do nothing about it. I'm gonna have to run. Yeah, it's just weird. The cases are weird. I love you guys. Phone is gonna explode. Bye, y'all.